Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to traders around the world. Welcome to Trading with Z, streamed live directly to you from this beautiful sunny day that I'm seeing outside my window. I hope folks are doing very well. Give me a good to go and let me know that all the AV is working well on your end. You should be seeing a video image of me, a slide up on the screen, and all else should be good to go. Let's do a double check of that. Give me a second here. All right. I think we are good to go. I'm getting Market Assassin. I love that image. Always looking up. Just like Carl Sagan said, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, keep looking up. All right, let's get going, folks. I hope folks are doing well. I'm looking very much forward to navigating markets here with you and trading this market morning. We've had a market week where we've seen risk-off cues come into play, driven by geopolitics in particular, and lack of enthusiasm against the Mag 7 stock earnings that presented. Where is the market ending the week? We're in a bit of a basing pattern, as it seems, from what I can surmise. And I think that we're in a market effectively that's in wait for next week's earnings as well. We're going to be getting another large number of Mag 7 stock plays as of next Wednesday. I think Microsoft, Meta, and then Apple and Amazon come in the day after. So we certainly have a lot more event news, earnings news that the market is looking forward to before perhaps making a decision to unallocate completely from Mag 7. I'm just being facetious, but reduce allocation or not. So let's figure out where this market morning is going in the context of the bigger picture. We're at a low area where if we come down below one of the key support levels that we're just kind of hovering above right now, for the NASDAQ E-minis, it happens to be around the 28,450 area. For the S&P E-minis, it happens to be around 74.45. If we come down below these levels, which the technical signals at this stage would actually suggest we're likely to come down below, right? We've got an aligned sell signal state on a daily chart, a 4-hour chart, a 1-hour chart, a 5-minute chart, and a 1-minute chart at this moment in time. So there's good alignment for things to continue to come down. And if we come down below 28,450 on the NQ, 74.45, which we're only 4 points away from on the ES. Let's call it 74.45 to 74.40 on the ES. There's probably going to be some more trauma and drama to the downside. So we've got to be very careful with that. Let's get right into it, folks. So you should be seeing a slide up on the screen right now. It's our legal disclaimer. Everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward, risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. Consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. Whether I'm discussing past trades taken, doing live trades in front of you, coming up with plans and projections for future potential trades, whether I'm doing so with respect to a live cash account, a demo account, or a prop trading account, it's all done for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. Finally, if I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to that poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. Okay, are we ready to go? Let's do it. So I'm going to take you right into a couple of looks at the primary market and then the NASDAQ. We're going to just go and do this from first principles, i.e. what kind of formation are we in right now? And are we truly in a late stage uptrend that has led to a topping zone. Are we going to come unglued? Well, my assessment has been that we started a new trend after a correction at the back end of March, beginning of April. We ran up for a couple of months, and then we started going sideways. So a late stage uptrend usually is a 6 to 8 month affair. We have been moving up for quite some time, but we did have a proper 10% correction, disrupting the bigger move from, let's call it the tariff tumble lows. So at this stage, I'm of the opinion, which I've always shared with you throughout this entire journey, that this is a consolidation to continue up to the top of the channel zone. Now, that's what I think. I don't know that that will be the case. Let's zoom into the hard right edge of this chart. And that's a chart of the S&P E-minis, same as this, on a day-over-day basis, daily candles. The center of that long-term channel you were just looking at is sitting down over here. It's currently sitting at, what, 73.87. If the market is unable to sustain, okay, in roughly, very close to this zone, i.e. yesterday's close, just below that area, we can make that tumble down to this area where I would expect a bounce. If we are able to, however, overturn the sell signal state that we're in and move up through 74.75 on the S&P E-minis, well, the dream for a bounce is alive. And the move that can take us back up to the waterline, 75.55, is what we'd be trading out. From 74.75, it's about capturing pieces of the move on the way up towards 75.55. Below 74.40-ish, it really starts to get ugly, and we can start moving down towards the center of that long-term channel. Now, again, engaging at the center of that channel will likely mean a bounce. Okay, will likely mean a bounce. That's something that would be commonplace with these linear regression channels. Getting down into that type of area, like we did on June 9th, 10th, and 11th, should yield a almost abrupt slowdown of the selling, and then very, very frequently some sort of a bounce. Is the NASDAQ in the similar spot? Well, yeah, it's in a very similar spot. If you go take a look at it going back in time, let's see if I've got that bigger picture view here. Let me pull it back here so we get that on the screen. And you can see that it's operating off of the same sort of channel going back a very long time to October of 2022. And at the hard right edge of the screen, what do we know? Well, we know that this is a little worse for wear than the ES's pattern. The ES's pattern looks like an ascending triangle where you've got supply at a constant area up top over here, and you've got higher lows in general. Okay, when you look at the NASDAQ's pattern, it's come all the way back down to effectively the bottom. It looks like a double top or some form of a head and shoulders pattern. And we're hovering right above the proverbial neckline. Now, coming down below, lows that we saw from June the 9th, 10th, and 11th opens the door for a lot of trauma drama. Now, I don't think that that's going to be the case, at least not initially. If the sell signals that we're dealing with right now remain intact, the daily chart's in a sell, 4 hours in a sell, 1 hour's in a sell, 5 minute is starting to get a little bit more shaky. It's in a sell, by the way, and the 1 minute chart as well at this moment in time. You're going to go see that in just a moment with me. If it continues to persist in that manner, we come down towards the center of the channel. And the danger line is 28,450, which is just below the lows from today's future session. And it's near, it's slightly above the lows, actually, the intersession lows from yesterday's session. Let's zoom in on this a little bit more here. And what I want you to note is, look, below 28,450, there is room for us to come down 300, 400 points. Okay, that's the idea, at least. And the idea would be we would likely hold it as support. Could we have a little spike lower, hit the DeMark support 1 weekly pivot level before trying to heal? Potentially. So if today starts to go awry, it probably is not going to be it's not going to be data that drives it. It's going to be geopolitical stuff. It's not going to be positioning against Mag 7 stocks. That's already happened. So it would be, something that comes out of the woodwork and then down the ship can go. So we got to be very careful with that. Okay, let's get right back now into the technical view so that you can get a good sense right into the open what we're actually dealing with here. And I'm going to bring that chart back because We've got, when we look at it on a 5-minute time frame, in fact, let's just do that right now. That's a better way to kind of continue forward here. So if we take a look at the NASI on a 5-minute chart basis, let's look at that right there. I think I marked it up. There it is. Okay. So let me just quickly refresh this. The new weekly pivot lines are coming in play, but and that's why you're going to see the lines kind of change a little bit here. But what I've got effectively is a basing pattern. I've got a volume point of control line sitting at 28,640. If by some hook or crook we're able to reverse and jump up there in the next 30 seconds or shortly after the open, we're probably going to have a market morning that has a rise that can at least take us up into the 28,875-ish area to 900-ish area. Otherwise, we're headed down. Shorts are going to be what we continue to work with and play with. On the S&P E-minis, it looks very similar. The channel is more sloping up. We're at the bottom of that 2 standard deviation channel, and the line that it needs to surmount is 74.52. 74.52. So cash hours have just started. Let's go and take a quick look-see at what the NASDAQ is doing right out of the gates and whether or not there's something we can do about it right out of the gates. We're seeing it dump. We just came down and hit the 28,500 marker. We know that 450 is the danger area. For those that are in shorts already from the pre-market action, as you can see, I'm flat right now. I'm going to take trades live in front of you. For those who are short from the pre-market action, it's not clear that we will just unravel, right? This is a initial bar. And if I take a look at the fundamental structure of selling that's happening on the current bar, it's not strong enough, actually. There should be a reversal here. We should be seeing a reversal imminently that could take us back up to the last drop point. And now that would be 28,600. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I'm going to short it. I'm not going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs, but it's just the first 1-minute bar that's gone by. It was a dump and then reversal back up. The second bar is eating into the tail of that candle. We are in an oversold state, but we're in a well-aligned sell signal state. So it's going to be hard to resist a short. I'm going to try one right here, right now, see if I can get something out of it. So I'm just doing it on small size. And if I start to see it rip up like that and get above the speed lines, I'm going to just bug out of the short. But right now I'm in it and it's not in the money. The position's been in force for more than 17 seconds now. And if we pop up above the speed lines, I'm not going to stay in the trade. But right now, you can't avoid the fact that, we took a leg down and I've given you the insight. The selling is not strong enough structurally to tell me that we're going to just trend aggressively down from here. We're more likely going to reverse, and there's the reversal. Now, do I want to play that reversal? That's a harder trade to want to take because of the aligned sell signal state that we're in. So if I take a look at the 5-minute chart, sell signal state, that's very pervasive. We did oscillate a bit over here, but we're in a sell signal state as of right there on the champion trend basis. On a triple S basis, we've been in a sell signal state for since right over there where the triangle is. Technically, we're in stage 3 of the sell sequence on a champion trend pack standpoint. And when I take a look at the hourly chart, it's in a sell sequence as well. It would be considered potentially a resumption of the sequence because it cooled off, tested the channel, but we're back below the speed lines. It's still the same door that needs to open. Right, it's the 450 door that really needs to open, for an unravel, 28,450. So we're at 550 right now. My expectation is that we're going to get an oversold bounce. Okay, my expectation is that we're going to get an oversold bounce. And if we bust the center of that MSR channel, I'm going to take on a high risk long here, and I'm going to work with it for a bit. I'm going to bring up on your screen over here what the ES is doing and what the NQ is doing. Very, very quickly, I want to just share with you again, we're in a bottoming process that is not yet bottomed, right? The upward sloping nature of the channel for the S&P E-minis is a ballast for the NQ to a degree. It's trying to get above a waterline. It's 74.52 is the number it needs to get above in order to really, keep things alive and going. My trade is probably out of the money. Let's go check it. Yeah, it's out of the money. So I'm going to have to come in and manage that in just a bit. But right now, what I want to do again is make sure that I inform you on the NASDAQ front. We're still in a process that is more so a bottoming process than not. I can put that linear regression channel on here, but it would just be straight and flat. What we're looking for is 638 or higher to really drive home, further upside and, call this truly a bottoming pattern overall. So we're not there yet. Let's see how my trade is doing. Has it gone anywhere? It's in the money now again. So the insight seemingly is correct. This is a 1-minute chart of the MNQ, same as the NQ at the end of the day. And we're trying to bust up above the top of that 1-minute chart's MSR channel. It's a high risk decision to try to take on the long, but in earnest, I traded with the signals and I let you know, I'm not seeing the structure of selling be strong enough to break the market down. And you heard me call it out, we're likely going to see a reversal. Now we are getting one, and I do like profit, so I am going to take profit shortly, unless it just keeps ripping up, and then I'm going to keep on keeping on. So I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to stay in the trade for now. We know that 6,637 is the number. So I'm going to take profit right here. Okay, so I'm going to lock in right there, and I'm going to wait for the volume point of control of this bottoming process to be cleared in order to get on another long, because we could have some problems there. We can end up stagnating at that area, and I don't want to necessarily be in the position. So we're at what, 615 right now. You saw the reversal that I suggested or asserted is more likely. We are not seeing strong enough selling, and the reversal has happened, but it's not meaningful yet. It's meaningful if we are able to get above this waterline of this process. So I put a volume profile histogram on, going back to yesterday morning, mid-morning, when we started that dip down to the lows. I brought it out to, into the future here, and the number still remains at around 28,640. So we need to get above there if this is going to work out. And right now, we're selling right back down. So let's go and take a look at whether or not that is strong enough to actually break the backs of the market. So we had an up signal, green triangle. We have a down signal, red triangle. We're below the structures of support, of resistance. They're falling on top of us. It's the same mechanics, but now we've had enough time for the market to elect whether it wants to come in with force. I still don't see enough force to break things down. So I'm still waiting for a sign from this market, and really the sign is going to end up being, hey, do we come down below the lows, the 500 low? Are we able to then take out 460, 450, and does the whole ship come under, sink? We're going to have to wait for that. While we're waiting for that, one of the things that we can do is do a quick assessment of how some of the things that are surrounding the market, how are they operating? The first thing would be the intermarket behavior between the ES and the NQ. The ES is actually acting as a ballast for the NQ to a degree. It's not perfect, that's for sure. It's definitely not perfect. Let's see if I can put this on the screen here for you. Give me a second, see if I can move it around. So the NQ is trying to stall out in the selling immediately after that last closed 1-minute bar. And now you're going to look at a multi-time frame dashboard here with the ES on it. And you can see it is acting as a ballast, and it's doing a better job right now, actually. So considering, what to trade between the two, the ES might actually be an interesting pick here. We are above 52. Remember that number? 74.52 was the line. I'll bring that back up on the screen for you in a second here. But that's the number that I put out in front of you. Excuse me. And it was the one that made the difference for the ES, right? Remarking whether or not it's in a bottoming pattern. It's the one that, it's the line that can help act like a ballast for the NQ. So that trade is out of the money, $75. I'm still holding it. And I think I took it on a proper ES, not on micro. So it was a mini. Let's just go and take a look at the ESU right here. So there's the line right there. So going back to yesterday morning, 10:30, putting a volume profile histogram on the screen, the water line for the ES is sitting at around 52, 53. My trade doesn't seem to be in the money right now, and I'm probably going to bug out if I break the bottom of the MSR channel on the 1 minute chart for the ES, which would be below 74.48. And we're very close to that. So my trade's out of the money, a couple $100, $175, $160. Just to be transparent with you, it's still in force, but I'm going to have to bug out if we cannot sustain above the bottom of the 1 minute charts MSR channel. I am seeing it try to struggle its way back up. And, you know, again, for me, it really is, can we get through this nest and that volume point of control line right in and around here? It would have to be a 3-4 point rise directly from here. The Nasdaq's working to pull it down. The S&P is trying to hold on to, you know, the cliff, if you will, and not fall over at this moment in time. That's effectively the very quick and dirty narrative that we're dealing with here. But I think that my risk on that trade has gone a little too far, so I'm probably going to have to bug out. And I have not yet. We're hovering above 500. This is the test, 500 on the NQ. So this is really that testing moment. Can it hold above the 500 marker, or does it submerge? And if it does, it's going to drag the ES down with it. And that's unfortunately the way that cookie will have to crumble. But believe it or not, I've been in that trade for much longer than I wanted to. It is out of the money, but it's not the end of the world. So I'm still going to give it a moment to breathe and see if we can get that reversal off the low. The Nasdaq is saying, no, it's not going to happen. You know, when you look at the NQ, it's very, very clear that it's saying, hey, watch your back. This thing's going to just come unglued. The 1 minute chart's now showing us that little perforation of 500. So this is that go moment. Either it's here and we reverse, or it's not. And we are in a sell signal state. We have to be very clear about that. But we are also at a low or a floor area. And this is the time of day where if a reversal is going to take place, this is the time of day for it to be attempted because there's actual momentum here. But now I'm actually seeing a fairly strong fight, right? Fairly strong fight between the two. We are in a sell signal state on a daily chart, a 4-hour chart, a 1-hour chart, a 5-minute chart, and a 1-minute chart on the NQ. So why is it not just whooshing lower? Well, look at the daily chart. The daily chart sets down the bigger, deeper technical tracks. Look at what we're engaging with. The champion trend buy zone trail line is sitting right below price at this moment in time. It's sitting at what? Effectively that danger number that I quoted for you, 28,450. So it's just a smidge above there. Now we've perforated that line. That happened back over here on the 17th, right? We've done the damage. Technically, the door is open, so we can fall through it. And if we fall through it, we know that we've got a drop, and we can continue shorting down potentially towards 28,080 points, somewhere in and around there. And the market right now is not, is not afraid of opening that door again. We're right at that 28,450, 60-ish area as we speak right now. We're at 466, and it seems to be getting a lot hairier. Interestingly enough, the ES trade, which I'm in, which is out of the money, is trying to cling to the bottom of its MSR channel on a 1-minute chart. It has not splayed away from it far enough yet. We're sitting at 74.45, and now it's starting to get dragged down a little further. But let's go into the now on the NQ, and let's see if there is any chance for a reversal here or not. And Sharon, that's a good point. It's the market PMIs. It's not the ISM PMIs, right? So a little less impactful, but certainly data, right? Certainly data. So I appreciate that. How's everyone doing right now? Okay. For those who are short, check. Good on you. We've had the dip back down to the danger line. We've been hovering around it for about 2-3 minutes, and we have not walked down underneath there into the basement yet. Well, actually, this would be the sub basement, wouldn't it be? So be very careful. All right, the risk of a reversal at a major support line is always something one has to consider. So tightening up one's stops right now makes more sense if you're in shorts. Okay. If you're looking at building a new short right now, again, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you, hey, below 28,450, there's a better than fair chance that we're going to unravel. We came literally down to Rob's champion trend support line on the daily chart. Literally, right? 28,457. Was that actually the actual low? 458 was the actual low. So, it's kind of uncanny how well that stuff works. The champion trend buy zone trail line is sitting at 28,457 and a tick. And we've literally come down within a point or so of it. Now, of course, there's still downward pressure in the market. We have not reversed as of yet. Perhaps the data will do something directionally one way or the other. I doubt that it's going to be too eventful, but it may end up being a little rationale for pivot or enhancement of the existing direction, right? So be clear on that. That could be the case. I don't see it being long-lasting, trending type impactful. So I'll just leave that as is. Okay, so that data should be out. Let's see if I get a reversal right now. It's going to be hard to want to trade that long, but maybe I get a enhancement of the existing direction and I can trade it short. We shall see. We shall see. The NQ is starting to get weaker. The ES is trying to go the other direction. The lack of aligned direction between the two is problematic. The ES is trying to pick the NQ up off the floor as we speak right now. It's not yet had success in doing so. We have not yet come down and made a lower low, but we're headed towards that at this moment in time. The only insight that I could really layer on right now is get ready for another short or get ready to get out of the short. Getting long is a little harder at this stage, that is to be sure. A break of the downtrending action is going to require the NQ to get significantly higher. Okay, so is this a positively divergent lower low, or is this a negatively divergent, a convergent lower low? The ES is getting dragged down by the NQ. We're at 450 at this stage. So this is that moment now where we just fall off the edge of the cliff. But it's interesting how my ES trade's out of the money, a couple $100. But it is actually less out of the money, and the ES is trying to turn up. It's literally trying to pick the NQ up off the mat. It's not in the money, the trade. I'm not happy with it, obviously, but I'm above the speed lines, and I'm trying to eat into the upper half of the MSR channel. I'm trying to get above the top of the MSR channel. This is the same trade that was there from the very beginning, right? It was not well timed. But again, I'm looking for reasons to believe here that the trade on the NQ is going to come undone. And isn't that incredible? From being out of the money, 2, 3, I think at one point, maybe even $400, it's come back to flat and might actually go into the money. Maybe. Let's see. In any case, I didn't adjust it. I told you that I'll let you know. So still there. What I'm going to do is just go back and make sure that we see the NQ. As it's come down, I'm looking for whether or not the low, the secondary low that's been made was strong enough. And you know what? I'm probably gonna take that ES trade off the table if we kind of get back into the lower half of the 1 minute charts MSR channel. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So right now the trade's been in force for a long time, right? And it went out of the money hard. It came back into the money, and now it's kind of flat to slightly in the money. If we come into the lower half of the 1 minute charts MSR channel, i.e. below 74.50, I will execute an exit on it, whether it's on screen or not. I will execute an exit, but profit is profit. And this is a pretty big turnaround. So I think I'm going to take some profit if I can take some here. Let's see. I don't want it to go submerge below the speed lines, but it's a pretty good turnaround story. The NASDAQ, unfortunately, is just giving us a real hard time. It's in a really bad spot at this very moment in time, right? We're right at the 28,450 area. So for those who are trading the NQ right now, and if you're on shorts, it's a real pit fight at this moment in time. It's a real fight where we're seeing, back and forth nonstop. My, again, insight to you is that we should be seeing, from what I saw at the open, we should be seeing a bounce up before the unravel down. But the NASDAQ just got pummeled. It kept the ES from actually being able to grow. The ES, my ES trade right now is slightly in the money, as you can see over here. And you know what? I'm going to take my profit while I've got it. So I took $125 of profit on that trade. It was in force for a little too long. Right now, I want to flip over to trading the NASDAQ with you, which has the slingshot pulled back a little further, right? So that slingshot's pulled back a little further. So when it's released, price can probably accelerate a little further. But dare I try one along here? Well, what do we know about the CTP toolkit? We know that once the sequence ends, after we've had the breakout forecasters in the absence of 2 to 3 bars with no breakout forecasters and a bullish speed line cross, we're going to go up and test the last, the second, the third, and very likely the fourth last breakout forecaster. Very likely, not certainly. So I've taken on a very high risk trade on a predictable outcome after a sequence is over. But if the sequence one is going to resume right away here, we're going to make a lower low. I'm going to get my head handed to me and have to get out of the way. So I'm going to give it another 10 seconds or so. And no, I am not. No more. No more 10 seconds. As soon as I saw that accelerative drop, down we went. That was a very high risk decision. It actually took the ES down with it in dramatic formation. So the ES went from about 57 down to 42. So that's a 15-point move in it took a second, maybe two, for that to happen. So that's fairly clear evidence that either this is the door fully opening now, which I think it has, right? We are below 28,450. So shorts and shorts and shorts is what I want to put on, not long pants. And I don't think I want to chase it here. I want to see the ES come down and take out the low from the last 1 minute bar, which it's trying to. The NQ has. I want to see the ES do that and see that it's giving in as well. And then I'm happy to jump in on the NQ short, wherever we may be. It just happened. I'm in. So I'll manage that. This is what I was looking for over here. I was looking for the ES to come down and make a lower low versus the last 1 minute bar. And we've come down and broken a structure now that is quite important on the NQ. We've broken down below a major support area, which we have diagnosed together, right? And I will risk manage myself out of this trade above 405, roughly. Actually 405, 410. If it does pop up above 405 or 410, I'll get myself out of the short and look at resuming the short on a back test of falling resistance. So what we know at this stage is we're dealing with a market that has opened the door for a unravel, right? We've opened that 28,450 door. We're well below anything that could have stabilized ourselves. And this now can run all the way down into the 28,000 to 28,080-ish area. It doesn't have to be a straight line, but it is, there's not too many questions anymore. We're already at 360, right? So the trade's in the money, as you can see. The long on the ES miraculously had worked out. I got out in the nick of time, as they say. I'm going to execute a profit-taking exit right here because I see an oversold enough condition. I will re-enter the short if we come down below another structure. And I'm looking for that next structure on the NQ chart here. Let me just refresh this real quick. I think it's at 335, but it might end up being 305 itself. So I will have to just double check that. Okay, so bear with me for a moment while I just get this sorted out. Yeah, it's at 310 is the bottom of the channel. So we can get one of these whooshes below the bottom of the channel that you see you see drawn in on the screen here. This channel goes back to June. Okay, this goes back to what, June the 16th. So it's been around. It's what the Nasdaq's been operating in. You see me put it up on the daily chart. Excuse me. Right. So we're coming very close to the bottom of the channel. And if I want to construct another short entry over here, I can take it from 350 down to 310, or I could wait for 310 to be breached, try to catch a whoosh lower than the bottom of the channel, kind of like we got over here on the 17th. And then there should be a reversal. Whether that reversal is going to be productive to stabilize the market or not, it's less likely at this stage, obviously, right? It would just be a counter trend bounce that remains in force for a little while. So right now we're at 345, 350. I'm flat at this moment in time. I'm waiting for my next trade entry opportunity. And what I've just done is a little work to understand where I'd be willing to take it. And for those who are wondering where that is, again, that's around 310 on the NQ. And if one wants to do something similar on the ES, I don't know. I don't think I would actually on the ES. I'd rather leave the ES alone and just take the short on the NQ. So right now, if we're coming down and we just hit 310, we'll probably have a little bounce off of 310, and then we should come at 310 again, and we can then move below 310 fairly quickly. It could be okay, so we're at 3, so we've done it. We've come down to 310. We're getting a little bounce off of 310. I want to see if we can get a move back down below 310, 28,310 on the NQ. Like, we literally came down to it. Like on this bar, the low was 313 and a tick. Okay, so now if it comes back down through that number, the pattern that I've seen it operate off of is what I'm relying on. And I would expect a whoosh that is significant below 310. So let me focus in and see if I can catch it. Assuming the market gives it to us, right? It's a likely outcome. It's not a certain outcome. And we still have some time before the change of the hour. So, we still have some time before the change of the hour. And miraculously, even through all of the executions that I've done in front of you, my account is effectively down $10 on the day. So the back and forth, I got back to neutral effectively. So right now I'm still waiting. I'm not seeing 310 being tagged again. Counter trend bounce. Could it start here? I doubt that that's going to be the way that this plays out, right? When we're dealing with these types of statistical channels, we actually engage with the actual number itself. We actually perforate the bottom more frequently than not. Let's go look at the 5-minute version of this. The granularity there will be more helpful. Did we actually test the actual channel bottom? Yeah, we did. We did. So that adds now a little bit more complexity. Let me show you what I'm talking about right there. Right, that's the lime green line that we just tested. So we literally hit the bottom of a 2 standard deviation channel from the point it was drawn back in the middle of June. Okay, we hit the very bottom of it. What do we know about the bottom of these channels? We know we're very far away from normal. What does very far away from normal mean? We're going to try to attempt to mean revert. Now, all I'm theorizing is that we have a whoosh below the bottom of the channel before that. Exactly, Gus. And I was speaking about the 1-minute chart on the breakout forecasters. It doesn't matter what the time frame is. The pattern is the same across time frames, Howard. But when we end up having an absence of 2 to 3 bars with no breakout forecasters and a speed line cross in the relevant opposite direction, right, of the breakout forecasters. So if we're in a sell sequence and we have a bullish speed line cross, we're then in a state where you can go back and test the last second, and on a 1-minute chart, you can go up and test the third, the fourth last breakout forecaster. So we literally came to the bottom of the channel. We're bouncing back up. Is this the counter trend bounce now? Above 415, actually 425. We would be in a counter trend bounce that comes back to back test the underbelly of these swing lows and the breakdown point. If this is truly going to be a day that comes unglued much further than what we've seen already, we don't get above 425. and back down we head towards the lows, and we could take the trade on the back test of around 425 and failure to get any higher, or the obvious, right? Come down below the low right now. We come down, which was the original way I was looking at taking the trade, which would be, again, come right back down below 310 and I could take the trade. But so Howard, you're talking about the breakout forecasters, right? So let's just look at it here again. So we have the last breakout forecaster presented at 9:55 a.m. Eastern time. These are 1 minute bars. We have an absence of 1, 2, 3 breakout forecast bars with no breakout forecasters. And we have a bullish speed line cross. The fast speed line is above the slow. So what typically happens, okay, what typically happens on a 1 minute time frame is we'll go back and test the last, second, third, and very commonly the fourth last. Look at the number of the fourth last. It's effectively my 425 number, off by 5 points. Now, is there a trade to be had in there? Remember, I tried one and then I got my head handed to me here, right? So this bar really told me at 9:50, hey, don't do any shenanigans over here. The predictability may still be good, but the market is still too scared right now to operate, quote unquote, normally. So we've only come back and tested really the last breakout forecaster, and it's coming right back down again. Now, if it comes down to 310, like it just did, I'm taking the trade again, like I said. But I want to be very clear. If it goes above the speed lines, I'm getting out of the way. Okay, so it's gone above the speed lines. I'm out of the way. Because I know that, again, on the pattern, we should come up and test the last, second, third, usually even the fourth last. And I've already done the work with you here where I've said, hey, if we end up coming up to about the 425-ish area, above there, if we go, we're coming up into the low 500s. So above 425, we're coming up to about 525, 530. And that would be an area where we'd expect it to be rejected and for it to come back down again. Okay, so right now we're headed up towards 425, folks. You can see it plain as day. Fast speed lines above the slow. Selling tried to resume, it failed. Triple S is back into the channel, and the soldiers are crossing above the generals. Perhaps the soldiers, which is the triple S line, the red line, perhaps the soldiers are going to be sent by the generals to go grab the king and the queen, which is the blue line, the slow momentum line. And where have we gotten up to? We've gotten up to test the last, the second, almost the third last, but it's really the last and the second last breakout forecasters have been tested. Excuse me. Can we continue to test the other two and then fail? Okay. Also, we have to keep the unthinkable in mind, which is that's it. Selling's done. Up we go. All right. We have to keep that in mind as a potential outcome. It doesn't have to be the outcome. And George, it was the 10 a.m. bar, wasn't it? Yep. Right there. Right. It was exactly at that time. And that's exactly where my errors tend to happen. It was on this bar itself, right? It was on the actual 10 a.m. bar. It reversed. You're right. And that ends up being important. So that's a good lesson for all of us to remember. I'm not infallible, clearly. And what we can see is that mechanical change that tends to happen on the top of hours, right before the top of the next hour and at the top of the hour, can be significant. There's a bunch of things involved in those mechanical changes that happen. They can create pivots like this one did. They can create enhancements of the existing direction, right? So it's kind of like event risk. And usually there's data that comes out at 10 a.m. as well. So we've effectively come up and tested the last, second, and third last breakout forecaster. We're still in a sell signal state that's pervasive. The ES is in a sell signal state as well. Its sell signal is still strong. Nothing's really changed there, right? It's still in a strong sell signal state. Double red dots are there. We're below the 1 minute charts MSR channel. Triple S is very oversold, but still, very bearish at this moment. So what I'm seeing right now is a potential for a reshort or a fake out. So if this is a fake out, it doesn't come all the way down and make new lows, right? It comes very close. It starts to accelerate, gets down towards 320, and then just rips right back up. So I'm not going to take a trade here. I'd rather just take the obvious trade, break the lows, and down we go for the whoosh below 310, right? Below 310, 305, or this thing starts to grind itself back up, and dare we try another long? Probably not a great idea. Okay, how are folks doing? Let's just do a quick temperature check of everyone in the room. Are you keeping yourself under control? And meow, that's amazing. 4-digit gain. I'm super happy to hear that. Keep that, lock that in, certainly. I'm certainly happy to hear great results, and it looks like folks are keeping themselves in control, which is really good. Adam C, congrats. Adam was just telling me he just passed a 50K on FFF. That's amazing. Okay. 71 degrees, Bob. All right. Let's keep going. Yeah, Ruth Ann, you and me both, right? The top of the hour is always a hard lesson to when you're in the thick of it and you're in the zone, and you're not mindful of the time moment, it can catch up with you. I need George to carry a bigger stick and just reach through the screen and whack me over the head on that, which one day I'm sure he will. Okay. And right now, Abdi, the direction is in question, right? What we know is if you look at the big picture chart and you look at volume profile and you look at the location that we can come down to, we've assessed it as about 28,080 points that we could come down to in total, right? That would be the idea for the NQ. So let me just bring that back on screen because it's a good point. Right now we're going sideways. And I think that we're going to start building a base, to get this counter trend bounce really in play. But it should be a counter trend bounce, which means it'll fail. That's the idea. And the idea, again, on the questions that Howard was asking earlier is where, which breakout forecaster, what time frame on the 1 minute chart, it's very frequent that we'll test the last four. So somewhere around 420, 425, perhaps even 440, this area right there. That's where I would assume it can fail if it's coming up to that area. And you can set all sorts of alerts, right, Peter? For that time, you can set all sorts of alerts. Hearth, I am super happy to hear that, my friend. That is an amazing gain for you this week. Well done, like really well done. So good on you. So I'm by and large seeing most of the comments in the chat. I'm not seeing any negative comments in terms of folks, coming undone with their trading or going on tilt or anything like that. What I'm seeing is most folks are coming in with constructive comments on, how they've done. And they're not, euphoric comments either, which is really good. So like my friend Simon says, Simon G says, it's just another day at the office. Okay, so I think we're getting up to 420. I'm super tempted to want to try a long, but I don't know if that's going to be the most responsible thing to do here. I think that taking on a long side trade is viable up to 420, maybe up to 440, and then back down the ship should go. At least that would be the idea. So we've just hit the third last breakout forecaster, right? We just hit the third last breakout forecaster. I think we perforated it. Yep. And we're coming up. I'm taking on a scalp long. I've been in it for now a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to still hold it. I've decided to do it on the ES. It's up $150, $200 or so. I'm taking my profit at about 162.50. It was a very opportunistic trade. I did not start it in front of you in earnest. But again, you've heard from me where I think we're going, and we're here now. We're at 420. Okay, so it's 420 to 440 that is resistance. And the Ruth Ann, like you said, right? It's not wrong. You're just a little early. So the 10 a.m. bar, for the short, we understood that was a clear message. Okay, we're not dropping. We're going to come back and test the breakout forecasters. The question is, are we going to do the typical test the last four? And again, it's incredible how powerful these tools are. You saw Triple S cross, the soldiers crossed above the generals and went into quadrant 2. They were sent to go grab the king and the queen. You know that the CTP sequence ended stage 3 after these 2 bars with an absence of breakout forecasters and a bullish speed line cross on the next one. Then the predictable outcome, as you heard me say before I attempted a short when we were coming down to a lower low, is that we're going to test the last, second, third, fourth last breakout forecast. We've done it all now. And now we're at the precipice of, is it going to actually be a counter trend bounce of more significance? And we've actually done the work on this already, right? We went and did the work already. Let's go back and remind ourselves, if we're above 420, which we are by 10 points right now, we're coming into the underbelly of these swing lows. Okay, so we said 420 to 530. Okay, and that becomes a counter trend bounce that's quite a bit stronger, but we still would expect failure at the 530-ish area. So I'm not too excited about taking another long on until I see action above the highs here. I'm more excited about a resumption short, as we should be, because we are in a sell signal state on a daily chart, 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart, 5-minute chart. The 1-minute chart's at the precipice of converting over from a sell to a buy, but it's not converted over yet. So let's go, go, go. All right. A resumption short. What are folks thinking? Let me know. That's what I'm thinking. And Kevin, I'm happy to hear that it worked. That's amazing. Okay, so let's see if we get a resumption short going over here. It may end up being just a little dip, but I'm going to take it on the break of the MSR channel. A break means we have to perforate it and close for at least a 1-minute bar below it. I'd rather take it on a break, not a breach. A breach can just be dipping its toes below and it can reverse right back up above. If we break out above 440, we're headed up to 530, and I'm going to try along. Okay, that's my plan at this stage. And ideally, we get a resumption short here. Ideally, right? And every time I say that, the market gives us gives me the opposite. So I want to be prepared on either side. That's the idea here. So below the bottom of the 1-minute charts MSR channel, I can reshort this. I've got the backing of the 5-minute chart. But now as I look at the 5-minute chart, look at what's happened here. Now, on a 5-minute chart, if you're ending the sequence, which we have, right? We've had an absence of 1 bar and 1 live bar without breakout forecasters, and we've had a bullish speed line cross. But we've already tested, we don't have to test the third last. It's common. It's common. It's the last, second, and third last on a 5-minute chart that we go back and test. And guess what the number is at? 530. So, the toolkits are reinforcing my organic look at price to begin with, where I just brought up the candles and I just did basic math for myself and said, hey, okay, we're probably going to come up 420-ish, 425. We get above 425, then we are probably headed up to the 530 area, and that's where we should see failure. We could see failure at 425. So right now we're just negotiating between, hey, is it failure right here, or is it failure after a move back up? So this is a breach, not a break. If it breaches by a larger degree, i.e. if we come down below 90, 390, I can just short it directly. But we have closed below it, and I'm taking the trade. Okay, so it's a break, not just a breach. Now, if price action shoots up above the 28,400 marker to 415 marker, it's going to get a little hairy to want to stay in the short. And I'll have to get the heck out of the way, because then, we've got a low, a higher low, and a higher low. And here we are. We're at around 410, 405. We're still testing the underbelly of the speed line, so I'm still willing to work with this for a moment. but the ES has actually got a better footing here, and it's saying no, no, no. So I'm saying no, no, no as well. Okay, so in earnest, I tried to get in at the beginning of a resumption. It was not clean. It was not clean to say that the resumption would be in play, but we broke the bottom of the 1 minute chart MSR channel. We had the speed lines in a bearish cross. All of that was there. All of that was there. And now we're coming up above the top. And guess what? I have a plan on both sides, right? So 530. From where we are right now up to 530 would be the idea. Remember, that's where the third last breakout forecaster is. The champion trend sell zone trail line is on the 5 minute chart. It's a very risky trade, obviously, because we're retracing back up only to likely see it fail over here and then come right back down again. That's the idea, at least. So those that are trying this, it's going to be trying. Be very careful. It's not an ideal trade, but if this is what the market's going to give me, I'll have to deal with it. And right now, I don't like it. We poked above. We poked right back down below. I didn't wait for it to break. I just took it on the breach. I was assuming breach and run, and I'm wrong. So we go below the speed lines. I flatten the position out, and maybe we get a resumption, right? It's in the channel, and in the upper half, so I'm going to hold on for a sec. You go into the lower half? No, thank you. Don't want it. Triple S is still holding in the upper half of its channel. So if it submerges, if the triple S line submerges and comes down below the generals, which is the dashed white line over here, yeah, back down we're going. And a resumption short would be the ideal trade. So I don't know that yet. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for the local low here to be cleared as well. And let's see. I'm going to wait for the bar to close below the low. Because if we're going to start another move down, it would be a move not only to the lows, it would be to a lower low, very likely. Okay, so we're starting to spread far enough away. We're 10 points below the line that I was willing to take the short on before. We've closed below there. I'm trying to take it on again. We come up to the top of, the bottom of the MSR channel here at 398, 400. I have to get out of the way. Otherwise, I stay. Triple S is trying to negotiate with the generals right now. So the soldiers are intersecting with the generals. They seem to want to cross below. Okay, I like profit, and I'd like to also build this trade. I'm not building it here. I'm going to do some P&L repair and take profit right here. And I'm miraculously profit positive on the day by a smidge. So I'm trying to find as many credible entries as possible and provide you with the execution and management, whether they work or don't. I want to pick the ones that work more likely. We had an opportunity for a continuation up from 440 to 530. That seemingly has failed. We have a resumption short afoot. Double red dots are appearing above the current bar. Champion cross is red. Champion trend is red. MSR channel is magenta, technical damage. But a resumption short is what I'm looking at here, which should be a much higher probability direction to trade because of the aligned sell signal state that we're in. So I've re-entered the trade after I took profit on the last one. This one's profitable again. And guess what I'm going to do as we're coming to the lows? I'm going to take profit again. Okay, so I'm giving you as many credible entries as I can, and how I want to manage it is to manage my P&L. If one is staying in it, makes sense. If you're coming down to this low, I think it makes sense to trail a little tighter. I think it would make sense to trail a little tighter. And if we come down and breach the infamous 310 line, guess what I'll be doing? Shorting. And what am I shorting? I'm going to be shorting the pattern that I assessed for you earlier, right? We put that channel on. Let me just refresh this. And we noted that we came down to the very bottom of the channel on the 5-minute time frame. This is a channel. It's a downward sloping channel. It started in the middle of June, actually. I'll just superimpose that back up on the screen. Just need to pull the data back here. Oh, come on. Behave. Okay, so there it is. And what typically happens when we come down to the bottom of the channel is we'll perforate it, right? We'll extend below it. Now, does that happen on the first test, the second? In this case, the channel was in a bit of a different shape at that point, but I'm not going to bias myself. I'm just going to go, hey, are we coming back to 310? Yeah. Is 310 about to be breached? Probably. Should I get ready for a short again that can, take us down more dramatically below 310 to probably the mid to lower 200s? Yeah. So I'm getting ready for it. Okay, we breached it. I'm taking it on the breach. It's right at a low, so I have to be very careful. Okay, seemingly is successful. Lower lows happen, but it's not just whooshing here, which is a concern for me. Maybe it's in weight, but I have to be very careful with a reversal that can happen here. So fingers on the trigger to get out. No, thank you. Do not want to be in at the low, right? So I scratched there. No damage, no gain. Come down below the low, and I can try it again. If we come down below the low, I would be looking for, I want to get the number right here. I want to get the number as right as I can. Just on distance, it's anywhere between 220 and 180. So if the next move is a foot below 300, we may be looking for 80 points at a minimum below 300. What I don't like is the positively divergent nature of this lower low. It's a slightly lower low than the lows that we saw at 10 a.m., the infamous 10 a.m. bar. And if you take a look at the location of the triple S line at the 10 a.m. low, where it was down here, okay, and we've come down, we've made a lower low, and the location of the line's up here. Those two things don't work well with each other. This is effectively saying it's a positive divergence. It's a triple S positive divergence where we've made lower lows in price, a significantly higher low on the indicator. Now, it's just one additional thing to tell me, watch my back, right? And exactly what it is the weekend. And I don't think it's going to be as sunny over here, but it's kind of nice outside right now. It may almost be pool-worthy weather. Almost. We'll see. But my kiddo has got his friend sleeping over, and the plan is once they wake up from their slumber, because I think they had a bit of a later night, they went and saw a new movie. What was it called? Odyssey, I think. And then they all went out for teenage summer dinner with all of their friends. So it was nice. They had a nice evening last night, and we did actually get to the gym yesterday. His friend, him, and myself, and the plan is to do it again today. So we'll see. I'll see if I can twist our arm and say maybe just an hour at the gym, and then we go to the pool. If it works out. There's very few moments like these, and they go by fast. So I try to capture them. Speaking of moments that go by fast, we're obviously not coming down and breaking down to a lower low. We're in a double bottom-esque type move, right? Oh, that's great, Tom. That's amazing. They, Julian and Max they both said the movie was really, really great. But the pizza and the wings after were just as good, apparently. Yeah, the ES is doing, it's in a positive signal state. The 1 minute chart's in a good spot, actually. So, Bob, you know what? Thank you for tweaking my attention to that area, because that might actually be the better long at this stage. 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart are in a positive signal state, but it's oscillating signals on the 5 minute chart, and it's tentative, and the 1 minute chart is tentative, but we're above the 52 line, aren't we? We're above the water line. So that's a very good point, Bob. I'm trying it. I just took on a long on the ES. I don't know where it is at. Let's get it up on screen here for you. It's in the money to flat. I'll manage it for a bit here. Bad timing, horrible timing on my part for the entry. But if we're going to get continuation by way of the NASDAQ pulling us further up and supporting the move, that ES trade can have legs to work out. I'm going to give it another minute or so here to see if I've got any goods on it. If it starts breaking the speed lines, no. If the NQ starts to reverse, no. That trade is now pretty much flat, down half a point to flat. I'm still in it. And if the NQ starts breaking into the lower half of the MSR, I'm going to probably want to get out of the ES trade because I got in, admittedly, way too late. Yeah, I think I'm out of the ES trade. I am. I had to take an L of 150-ish on that one, but that's okay. That's still very manageable. Is a resumption short going to work, or are we going to work off of a positively divergent lower low from the triple S tool and slingshot back up and have a more considerable counter trend bounce from all the selling, get up to the 530-ish area? It's thinking about it, right? It's not elected yet. It clearly had the opportunity to break down earlier, about 10 minutes ago, and it didn't. So you're looking at a 5-minute chart right now. It's a little more of a relaxed view with purpose, right? We ended the CTP sell sequence. We had a bullish speed line cross, but we didn't get any further. Okay, it started to come back down again and open the door on the 10:15 a.m. Eastern time bar to unravel. And we came down exactly to the area where, that 310 area where it should open. It opened the door, went below 310, and it could not go further. We are, what I want to be very clear on is we're at the bottom of a 2 standard deviation channel that goes back to the middle of June. Right? What's typically happened at the bottom of these channels is we've come back up towards the center. Before we make that move up, there's usually a perforation of significance below the bottom of the channel. So I was speccing out a short below 310 that could take us down to potentially 220 to 180 and then reverse up. Okay, we didn't see that door open, well, we saw the door open. We didn't see the market walk through it. Now, we still have not gotten off the mat to a degree that says all will be well. If I wanted to, long this chart, there's one low, there's another low, there's the neckline. It's sitting at 450, and we know the 450 line is the infamous danger line, right? We can get back up above it. It's the neckline of a double bottom pattern. And this is a 5-minute chart that you're looking at. So, 450 down to 300, 150 points, above 450 up to 600. We know there's a barrier at 530. So I'm still going to plan it as a trade above 450 to 530. But could I take it before that? Risks are high to do so. Maybe it's better to try it on the ES. The ES is above the its water line, right? Its water line, like the 28,450 big danger line for the NQ. The line was what at the line that we needed to surmount. So it's not the same danger line. The line that we needed to surmount was 74.52, and we're at 54 right now. So the ES is in a better spot to firm up and try to continue grinding higher. But look, at the end of the day, we're not going to guess at it. Either we're coming up and we're breaking above things that allow for a oversold bounce to continue, a counter trend bounce to continue, or we're coming down and we're going to walk right through the door again and have the perforation of that channel. I don't want to trade it here. I could consider a short as early as 340. 340. I could consider a long as early as 415, probably better above 440. That would be the idea. So do you think, let's do a little poll of the room. Lucky number 7 in the chat for a move higher from here, doesn't mean you're voting that the selling's all done, or number 6 in the chat to signify this ship's sinking. We're coming right back down again. So you let me know in the chat if you want to participate. If you're focused on managing a trade, please do not take your focus off. Seeing some great results from folks in there. That's amazing. And continue with the votes. Thank you. I appreciate it. So it's had so much time to actually come down and come unglued, right? It hasn't. And while we're in the channel, it's a little more challenging to want to take on the trade. And we're again on a 1 minute chart. Like I said, above 415 would be the earliest I'd consider a long. I'll consider it, right? Triple S is starting to go green. The ES is actually, interestingly enough, not adding any more strength here. It's the NASDAQ that's actually now starting to firm up a little more, which is good news for those who are looking at long. I don't think that the execution line is there yet. The earliest would be 415. Alternatively, it would be around 450. I'm going to try it at 415 if it comes through and breaches 415. It's higher risk to do that, of course, right? But running up to the champion trend sell zone trail line, I see that very frequently happen. So I'd be willing to try it right above the top of the channel. But alas, we are not there. So let's wait it out. The sum weight of the votes. Let me just count that up. Give me a quick second here. Whoa, we're divided. Hold on. Got a lot of chat posts to count through. We are at 55 in totality for everyone writing in. Everywhere it is 55-45 leaning to 7. But clearly, we don't have a long available right now. Is the short available? We breached the bottom. We're at 330. Resumption short. Usually we don't see things like, the creature called a triple bottom is usually not a creature that roams the jungle. So can it be taken right here? Potentially. I'm going to wait for effectively the low to be broken. And if we come down below roughly 310, 300, yeah, I'm in for a short. If it firms itself back up and gets back up above 390, I could consider a long as early as that. I could consider a long at 410 and 440 to 450. Longs are going to be very dangerous until we're off the map. Resumption short makes a lot more sense. Breaking the low would be one way to do that, but we've been down here once, 1.5 times really, 2.5 times, up to this point. And I'd say, that's another half attempt. So usually the number 3 is the magic number in markets. 3 strikes and you're out, or third time's the charm. So if we're coming down to break it, and this is really the third, full attempt to do so, this is the one to watch, right? This is typically going to be make or break. So we're headed down towards 310. We're at 335. We've just opened the door for a bit of a lower low. We have not gone through it yet. So I'm in stasis. Now I'm going to do another poll to help everyone listening in the room. Okay, so the way that this poll is going to work, it's just you type in a letter, long, short, or flat, L, S, or F. For those who are in positions right now that want to share with their fellow compadres in the room, let folks know. Are you an L for long? Are you an F, you're flat? Are you an S for short? And as those responses come in and settle down, I'll give you the count. Okay, so thank you. We have got 70% of the vote as effectively flat. And the majority of the rest is short, like 25% is short, 5% is long. so far. Results are still coming in. Happy to hear that, Rodney. So it's flat, 70-75% is flat. The rest is the majority is short. There's very few folks here that are in existing longs at this moment, or have kind of forayed into it. As the votes continue to come in, wow, it's like 85% flat. So we're all sitting on hands right now. And then the rest is the majority of the rest of the vote is short. Okay, let's. So now you've got some knowledge about the traders around you, what they're doing. And again, I'm going to take the short probably below 310. I'm going to have very little patience if it does not just whoosh down lower. It's rare that the triple bottom is a creature that that works, but let's see. So what I'm saying specifically at this moment is we're positioned to come down lower and make a lower low. I'm willing to take the short on breach of 310. I'm playing it down to about 220 to 180 based on the work that we've done, the chart work that we've done already. And I entered roughly around 310. I'm not seeing it whoosh down directly. I'm seeing it back test the speed lines and come up above the fast speed line and already not be in great position to work. I've got my finger on the trigger to get out of the way. If it comes up above the slow speed line at 35, I have to get out of the way, of course. I have to get out of the way. So I don't know that this is going to be a bounce that will be successful. We are still trending down, hitting falling resistance. My entry might have been a little early. I'm going to try the entry again below, obviously, the low in this area. And I'm also going to, comment on the cross asset and cross market behavior. The ES is in a similar spot, dangling, but it's not at the low that, not at this type of a dramatic low that the NQ is at. Let's just look at it from a 5-minute chart standpoint, actually a 1-minute chart standpoint real quick. See if I can make that full screen. Perfect. Right. So low, slightly higher low, low, very similar low. It's not at the lows from 10 a.m. Kind of like the Nasdaq's at. So it's not as negatively positioned, but again, falling off the edge here after this would be considered more of a coiling type behavior, right? The coil is going to break one way or the other. We're getting closer and closer to the apex of the coil. We're pretty much at it at this stage. You can draw a line underneath here, draw a line above top here, and we're right at the tip of the spear, if you will. So what I'm looking for now is some clarity. Nazi comes down below 300. Another short can be attempted. Like to see the ES breaking the coil to the downside concurrently. And look, we've got a much better aligned sell signal state. So if it wants to break and give us that move, remember that move is going to be very temporary, right? We've done the work on this already. We already looked at the channel that it's operating in since the middle of June, right there. Comes down to the bottom of the channel, it can spread below. That's the trade effectively. But then it's going to rip right back up, very likely. Right? It's already a stable downtrending market from the middle of, well, really from June the 16th. Right? So you can see very well traversed oscillations, etc. So we're coming down to it right now again. I want to be there for it. If it the basis of the trade and the nature of the trade should be whoosh. Okay, here's 310 being perforated again. I'm trying it at 310. I want to see if we get a whoosh now. If we get more of this counter trend bounce back up, I'm going to get out of the way. So my finger's on the trigger to get out of the way in the case that it wants to come up above the speed lines. It just tested the speed lines. I've spooked enough to say no. The nature of the breach of the bottom of a 2 standard deviation channel should be rapid, should be ferocious. It shouldn't be tepid like this. So it's waiting. And it can happen, very quickly, like just dangling at the edge of the cliff and it just falls over, right? So that's why I'm willing to, I attempted it once, I attempted it twice, I will attempt it for a third time. And we know we're at a low, right? We know we're at the bottom of a channel. We know that the MO for the market against the bottom of the channel is to spread below it very quickly and then V-shape bounce right back up. The spread below it very quickly could take us down 80 points or more. I projected it down to 220 to 180. Okay, here we go again. Let's see if this opens the door. Fingers on the trigger to execute, and I'm in. Okay, so there's a little more productivity directly here. It should whoosh very quickly like this, right? That's exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm taking profit along the ride. We come down below the low here. I'll re-enter the trade. And I'm going to play it down to 28 to 20 to 180. So let's see if I can get another go in here. Did anyone else get that last short? Let me know. If you're focused on your next execution, please don't waste your time in the chat. Focus on your trade. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm trying it right there. It might be a little early, but I'm trying it again. So this is my re-entry. I don't want to see it reverse back up and eat into more than half of the last closed 1 minute bar. I want to see what it's doing now, but more ferocious. And it's not. It's very tepidly dipping its toes in. So there's a risk of a reversal here. No, thank you. It'll probably come back down again. But do I need to be in there while it's deciding? Nope. So have we perforated the bottom of the channel? The answer is yes, right? So that's happened now, right? We've perforated the bottom of the channel. It's very clearly perforated. What I've been arguing for is usually we will spread by a degree below the bottom of the channel, which I measured out using past example. And we have not met that criteria yet, right? Coming down to 200-ish as the bullseye makes sense here. But then reversing right back up makes sense as well. And that's what usually happens. Okay, so while I'm gabbing, it's already moving. So let's see if I can get back in. Looks like some folks took that and did well on it, which is amazing. I'm super happy to hear that. Alan, that's amazing. And I know you were saying the control minus to compress the scale. That's super. That's actually a really good little tactic. So you can see more of the range, right, Alan? That's the point, I'm guessing. Wow, lots of folks took that last short, didn't you? This is an area where we're going to make likely the final low for the morning, right? And what I'm looking for is the typical behavior against the bottom of that 2 standard deviation channel, which I keep bringing up, saying we're perforating the bottom. You know, we have not come down to 220. 220 was my target area. We've come down to 265-ish. We're still in stage 3 of the CTP sell sequence on a 1 minute chart. ES is weaker as well. It's below 740. It's at 738. It's below its 1 minute chart MSR channel bottom. So I'm still going to look for this trade here. I've tried an entry again. Okay, on the basis of what? This being the attempt to spread below the bottom, get down towards that 200-ish area. Okay, 220 to 180 is the zone that I've identified, and then rip up like it did here, right? That's the idea, at least. Is the trade in the money? No. If it's going above the speed lines, I really don't want to be in it. Now, the tricky part of this is we're shorting at a low, okay? what's the saying? Never shorten a hole. The hole's already dug. It's gotten deeper. So if one decides to sit out the potential last leg over here, that makes good sense, right? I'm trying to force myself into it. I've tried 3 times. All 3 times failed. Actually, one worked, right? One worked. The third time worked. So I tried 4 times, right? The third time was the charm. And now I was trying to get another go and play for continuation down to my target area. And I was not able to see it follow through. So I got out of the way. So have we had an absence of 2 to 3 bars with no breakout forecasters? We had absence of 1 bar in the current live bar. Do we have a bullish speed line cross? We do. Is the sequence over? Likely. Now, that doesn't mean we can't come back down again before the end of the hour, but it does mean that we are probably going to go up and test the last, second, third, and potentially fourth last breakout forecaster. That can take us all the way up to 28,340. And right now, Abdi, I would agree with you. There is a lot of take from Peter to pay Paul kind of thing happening within the Nasdaq. The ES was acting like more of a ballast though earlier. It unfortunately succumbed to gravity. It's come down and made a slightly lower low now versus the low at around 10:18 a.m. Eastern time. It still has not taken out the low from 10 a.m. Right, so it's still not in as bad a position as the NQ. So technically, if the ES gives in here, it's going to hurt the NQ, and that might be where the whoosh ends up happening. It's in the running to come down to the 10 a.m. low, right, which is around the 74.30-ish area, 31-ish area, and I'm watching it carefully. I want to see if, it aids and abets a follow through to the downside. We're probably going to get this whoosh. We just made a lower low. I'm trying it again. Okay. I want to see if this breaches now and just runs. The ES is not at 31. It's at 35. But it's headed down towards the 10 a.m. low. Signaling is good. And I would have very little tolerance and patience for the trade here. Either it's going to break down and unravel, or it's not. Right. So I'm trying to take a piece of it if it does, and it doesn't want to unravel. Scratch. $0 on that one. And Karen, you're right. Karen, your comment is spot on. For a market that has all signals aligned across all time frames, it doesn't feel easy, right? Either you set it and forget it and play just deal with the oscillations back up until we have an oscillation that makes a higher high, or you try to take pieces of the move along the ride. And look, this is where we started. We had a push up. My insight to you is we should be getting where I was not seeing the selling be structurally strong. It became strong, really in and around this territory, right around here, around 949, 950. And we did take a dive. We managed the dive well in terms of counter trend bounce. It's likely going to come back up. It failed to break out and do anything more than 420 at that moment, right? We were talking about 420, 440, up to 530, and then failure at the 530 area, and back down we go. So that was a fairly good lesson and sign to say, yeah, this is going to be weak. And it did come back down, but it didn't make a significantly stronger lower low. And it was a positively divergent lower low, right? So we made a low here, made a low there. Triple S made higher lows. Even to this moment, right? Triple S is at a higher point at that. And we don't know that this is a low yet. This could still come undone. But let's just contextualize again what this trade is about. This would be the spike below the bottom of that 2 standard deviation channel going back to the middle of June. And it will be likely a V-shaped reversal back up, right? That's what one has to be very clear on. Right? We've got it literally sitting in front of us. It's not like this is the first time it's perforated the bottom of the channel. Right? It did it over here, right? That was on the 17th. This was on the 8th. It did it over here. This was around the 26th of June, 25th of June. So we've seen this movie before, right? We've seen this movie before. Now, whether it's going to play out the same way or not, it's a different question. So let's go and evaluate this again as we move into the last dozen minutes of the hour. And it's fairly clear the market's net short in its positioning. There's a little pocket between now and about 1052, 1053, where we can do the market moves into a little evaluation phase to figure out how it's going to decide on whether or not to keep open positions that have to come off the table at 11, keep them on the short side, or start to cover. And we've hit a depth of discount that's dramatic enough to have a fairly big up on short closures. So we're not going down. We're coming back up. We've tested the last several breakout forecasters. The ES is above 42. It didn't come down and make a lower low versus the 10 a.m. low. It roughly tagged it. It missed it by a point or so. We got down to 74.32.5 versus 31 and change. And the ES is bouncing in tandem with the NQ. Neither are above their 1 minute chart MSR channels. The channel top is right there. Channel center is an opportunity where I could take a high risk long. Very high risk. Fingers on the trigger to get out. Taking profit at the top of the channel. ES is also coming up above the top of its 1 minute chart MSR channel. For those who are, trying this right now, be very careful. But it is a aggressive grouping of shorts that are covering, driving the behavior more likely than anything else happening, because we're moving into a period of time now where the mechanics of volume that drops off the tape for the weekend now for some markets is in force, right? So it's not just day trading volume, it's intra-week trading volume that's coming off the tape. So we can have an aggressive up, and hey, look, if it wants to perforate the top of this sell zone, 370, we're headed up to 420, very likely 420 to 440. If it decides to get rejected and shorts come back in force right now, I would be a little surprised, right? We've locked in a slew of positive divergences, least of all to mention what's sitting right in front of our screen here. 10 a.m. low, Triple S made its low, okay? Lower low, 1019, higher low on Triple S, lower low, 1046, intra 1 minute bar, higher low on Triple S. So 3 lower lows in price, 3 higher lows on the indicator that I built. We're seeing more shorts cover, and even outside of the indicator, just the basic common sense, what market structure is here. What is it saying? Okay, we've been operating in this downtrend channel. We know that we don't need to repeat the past, but we can rhyme with it. And markets tend to do that more often because everyone's looking for uncertainty reduction, right? So you look left, you look into the past and go, what just happened? And it creates a bias, and then it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, so what to do? I'm very tempted to just jump into a long on the ES and ride it up into the end of the hour, but I think it's a very high risk thing to do. And I am certainly not going to shy away from another trade before the end of the hour. As you can tell, I'm willing to take the risks. Okay, if a reversal is happening here, what I'm seeing on the 1 minute chart on the ES is looking somewhat more encouraging again to me. And the Nasdaq's still trapped in the channel, in its channel over here, and it's under the champion trend sell zone trail line. But the ES is getting back above the speed lines. I've got my triple S double green dots appearing intra-bar. We're looking at a 1 minute chart. And I'm going to take it above the high. I'm thinking of waiting for 52, but I'm going to take it as it's trying to come up to 52. I want to see if I can get anything out of this. So far, it's profit positive. Fingers on the trigger to get out. If I don't like it, it's now neutral, slightly off. I'm out. Don't like it. Don't like that speed line compression. Don't like the lack of direct follow through. If this is going to be a squeeze or a bunch of shorts covering, it should just rocket ship up. Now that can still happen, but that was not the moment. And that's a good point, Ed. Ed W. broke VWAP on the ES. That's a good point. I haven't brought up my VWAP cone template a lot this morning because it's fairly straightforward, right? We're coming down to the bottom of a 2 standard deviation channel. We whoosh underneath it. We V-shape bounce back up towards the center of that channel. And we're going to use that as one of our key metrics to communicate or key structures to communicate directionality for the balance of the morning. But if I look at, I just want to make sure I've got this right on both accounts here. We'll take a look at the VWAP cones for the SPY and the Qs. I like to look at the VWAP cones from effectively 9:30 a.m. onwards. So we're coming up above the top. I'm going to try the trade on the ES again here. So I'm taking it. Okay, I just took it. I'm in the trade on the ES again. Same basis, right? The same basis that we should be running up. Okay. While that's happening, so trade's profit positive now. While that's happening, the point that I'm going to make here is there's where we're at against today's VWAP cone from 9:30 a.m. on the Qs. Still below VWAP. Here's the SPY, as Ed was saying, or the ES, right? It's through. Is my trade still in the money? Slightly. Are we going to get a little more out of this bad boy? Let's see. Fingers on the trigger to take profit. If it does not like me, I'm taking profit. And I can re-enter the trade above 54. So, and it can be done on the NQ too, potentially. Right? The NQ is above the champion trend sell zone trail line. It's moved into a champion trend buy zone on a 1 minute chart only. It's not there on a 5 minute chart, right? All we're seeing on the 5 minute chart is we ended the sequence. There are some positive divergences that have locked in. I don't have the divergence tracker ticked on here, but there's a positive divergence that locked in at that low on the 10:45 a.m. bar. We've got fast speed line above the slow, and we're trying to eat our way back up through falling resistance. Is this a kill zone? Yeah. Falling resistance on top of us, rising support below. Price is the prey inside the jaws of the market. The ES is above 54, and it is running up. It is running up. So for those who are considering the long again on the ES, I feel like I've missed my entry, but technically I could still try it here. Maybe I'll try a little scalp on the NQ into the very end of the hour. And 4:30 is what we're looking for. So let's see if I can get comfortable with that. I'm not very comfortable with it, but I'm trying it. And I'm looking for about 425, 435, 440, somewhere in that area. It's close. It's not there yet, that's for sure. And what? We're at 417, 420, 421, 422. It's not blasting off. But again, I'm just working with what I know mechanically is in play right now into the end of the hour. And if the trade comes down below the fast speed line, it's bunk. I go away. And don't let too much damage happen at this stage. We're at 74.57 on the ES. We just tested the fast speed line on the NQ, and it's trying to bounce back up again. We're still holding above VWAP on the SPY from 9:30 in the morning. The Qs are still trying to come up to VWAP. Wes, I'm happy to hear that, my friend. That's amazing. David, I'm happy to hear that. Abdi, happy to hear that. So my finger's on the trigger. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the hour. Don't want to be in the trade on the conversion of the hour. So I'm probably going to just bug out momentarily. But as you can see, the mechanics of the market are on our side here into the end of the hour. Volume on the week that has to come off the tape, volume on the day that has to come off the tape by 11 a.m. are all working to our favor. I've hit my target. I'm taking profit, even though I think that we're going to get some continuation. Okay. Did I plan out for more than 450? No. Are we back above 450? Temporarily, we are. At least we can say that. And now what does that mean? Well, look at where we started. Okay. Roughly 600. Okay. From 600 all the way down to 250. 250 back up 200 points. Okay, if we're going to make a move that's strong now, we have to take out this moment, right? The 949 to a 950 1 minute bar moment, 1 minute bar moments right there. So coming up to tag 500 is the next order of business for longs if they're truly going to build on the covering of these bearish positions into the end of the hour. If we're actually going to see buying. And let's see if that plays out, because that could be another trade, but I don't want to be in the trade as I execute another profitable trade, got out of the way before the hour change. Now let's see if buying is going to follow on top of the mechanical bearish trade exodus we just had. Let's see. How are folks doing? Let me know. I just want to, I haven't spent as much time looking through the chat as I probably should have. But I really do hope. George, that's a good point, right? That's a good point. And thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that, my friend. The very best days is we make money going long and short, right? That ends up being great. If we want to track it back to, the genesis of trading direction on the day was really all about the structure we were coming down to that we can perforate and bounce back up off of. And look, the ES is just rocking and rolling. It's sitting at 74.68 right now. It's taken out, the pre-market high from the 8 a.m. hourly bar, the 7 a.m., 5 a.m. It's now at highs for the session. It seems like, yeah. Let me just double check. Yeah. Now that does not mean go long right now. Okay, that does not mean that. What I'm trying to say is that is a turn of events that really does add stability to this market. And we're back above the infamous danger line, 28,450 on the NQ, right? Marginally, we're a handful of points above it, but we're above it. So now, we'll have to evaluate it, and I'll kind of get myself centered again to provide you the next trading pocket and outlook overall. But I'm just looking through the chat right now, and I'm just trying to see what folks are having to say about things. Really good. And I would tell you if it's really bad. All right. If folks are coming at me and going, this doesn't make sense, what are you doing? I would say that, because that would be necessary for me to wake up and go, I'm doing something wrong. Jimmy, you too have a great weekend. Glad it went well. And Chandra, the ES was a pretty good call, right? You saw me trade it. All right, it worked. That was kind of nice. Well, I'm seeing a lot of folks tell me that they got a good chunk of the move up, that's really good. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm just looking through a few more comments before I get back into markets overall. Wow, there's a lot of good constructive behavior folks have taken on themselves and are doing. Like, I'm seeing people comment back specifically. I got these 10 points. I got this 50, 60 points. I was able to, stay out of the trade and not be in it when it was trying to decide whether it can break out. I saw you take it, Z, but I know I want to see it follow through and break out, not just breach. I'm seeing excellent comments from folks, so it looks like things are going fairly well. And of course, it's not going to be perfect for everyone. It's not going to be perfect for everyone. And you know, a couple of folks wrote in and were honest with me and said, "Hey, I tried a risk reversal and I blew my account." And I understand that can happen. It's happened to me. So, you know, I really appreciate the honesty in the chat, and the group is growing. Wow, we've got way more folks in today even, and the comments are growing as well. So amazing. So King, you're saying you want to see 632? That might be a tall order, my friend. That might be a tall order. Okay, let's go. Ishan, what are you saying in these streams? Oh, you're new here. Okay, got it. Thank you for. That's what I was saying. So many new folks joining us that you know, you can let me know if you're new, and if you make comments that I'm able to kind of catch and connect with, I'll remember your name, and we'll go back and forth, of course. Because at the end of the day, if insightful comments or, you know, watching my back even, those types of comments come into play, I'll trade better, I'll teach better, I'll give you the, you know, give you a better calls and execute better. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's the way it should be. So I really hope that folks are enjoying this. And David R, I like that, you know, that you like the stream, right? The idea here is, let's not go on tilt. Let's not go up, you know, let's not be optimistic or pessimistic, realistic. Let's not be a bull. Let's not be a bear. Let's see what's there. So what's there right now? Bull flag formation in an overbought condition generated by a short covering round into the end of the hour, where volume has to get lopped off for those that cannot hold positions past their market close, Eurozone closes, and for strategies that come off the tape even in North America at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So my insight to you was, into the end of the hour, I don't want to be in a trade as we cross the hour. I want to know that, did the squeeze up on bearish positions, because the market was net short, those positions, some of those positions had to come off the tape into the end of the hour, so they have to buy to cover, up the market goes. If we're going to see buying proper on the backs of that, I need to see that behavior as we change the hour. So we're now through the hour about a half dozen minutes. I'm not seeing buying, but I'm also not seeing strong enough selling. So what are we seeing here? What is this? This is those that still held positions on the run up of the short squeeze up to the end of the hour, taking their positions off the table. So folks who didn't exit, like many of us did, right into the end of the hour, you know, they're taking profits. I'm not seeing fundamentally strong selling come back in. And, you know, going back to Bob, I think it was Bob H's comment. I like that, David C. So right out of the 80s, right? You're a poet and you don't know it. I remember someone on Saturday Night Live in the 90s or the 80s that had that line. But as soon as I think about SNL in the 90s, I think of Dana Carvey. I think of the church lady. Well, isn't that special? Okay, so that was her tagline. Okay, so here we are. There's the EQs, 5-minute time frame. It's just a bell curve tilted 90 degrees on its left-hand side. We popped up into the end of the hour above VWAP. We're back below it. And that's on the NASDAQ. These cones and the inside off the cones work best excluding pre-market and after hours data. Okay, S&P, is it still above? Let me just refresh it. Well above. It rocketed. Let me just make sure I've got the right timing on the, yeah, it's ticking away live. I needed to refresh this template and I didn't. So the S&P has gotten very far away from normal, right? It got about 2.5 standard deviations. That's VWAP. That's a half. That's 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3 standard deviations. So what happens when we get very far away from normal? It's just like a bell curve. It's a bell curve because of how performance usually takes place. Not all of us are A+ students. Not all of us are F students. Center around the center mass, which is the center of the bell. And when the whole market gets pulled to one tail of the bell, it's improbable that it lasts there. 1/3 of the time it can. 2/3 of the time we're going to mean revert. So the ES got a little ahead of itself. And as a consequence of that, it's harder to buy more of it at this stage. The NASDAQ is still sitting, underneath VWAP. Is this a good moment to trade? No. I've got an expensive ES on a 5-minute time frame that projects out 20 to 90 minutes, and I've got a NASDAQ that's sitting center of mass at the average. I want the NASDAQ to cross through VWAP and get above the set of these pink dots over here. That's a half standard deviation above VWAP. It attempted to do so on the squeeze up into the end of the hour, but failed. Now, if it gets up, takes its shorts off, puts its long pants on, and actually gets up above here, we have more of a long side bias. And then, King, you're going to get your 632 or higher probably. I don't know that yet. So right now, I've got 28,370 on the NQ. You're seeing it on the screen there. I've got 74.56 on the ES. The NASDAQ is unfortunately seeing an area right now that is dangerous if it breaks down below. And Richard, what are you saying here? Richard C. Well, Richard, that is such an, very endearing. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Richard was just telling me about his experience, being a new trader, trading for, coming into the market over and doing active trading like this over the last quarter, some nice constructive and very positive comments regarding the streams that I do and the content that I produce. Who knew I would be classified as a content creator? I still don't think of myself as that. I'm just here to trade and share. Okay, here we go. NQ is coming up above VWAP, but appreciate those nice words. It's a stronger turn, strong enough to consider an entry above 75.80. Getting very close to wanting to do that. ES has gotten even more stretched, which is a concern. We're above the half standard deviation marker, so I've taken the trade in. Okay, we're above the half standard deviation marker. Okay, now we have to make it up to the 1 standard deviation marker. I'm not seeing it follow through, so this is probably a fake out. My trade's not in the money. I have to risk manage this. If this does not get going real quick, we are very stretched. And if you look at it on a 5-minute chart, we're not out of a sell signal state, right? We're not out of a sell signal state. Getting above 28.5, that puts this market back to alive. I don't like what I'm seeing right now. My entry was horrendous. I'm glad I did it with a micro. I'm barely willing to stay in and see if I can exit with less damage, which might be the only saving grace I get out of this position. But let's see. My finger's on the trigger to get out. I don't want to build this. We know how important 450 is. We were just above it by 30 points. We got above the last high. This is probably headline driven. I've not got oil up on my screen, which is a miss on my part, because this could be oil related. I'm getting out of the way on this trade, and I'm going to go and actually take a look at this. Exactly. It held the line. King, you're right. 450 is the battleground. 450 is the battleground. Oil took a dive. Exactly. It was an oil thing. So it was headline, right? There's your dive down on oil. That's what helped with that little pump up. That's why I have this very messy, big template with a whole bunch of things on the bottom of the screen there to give me that early warning. So I have that off screen. I'm going to keep that there. It's a little too noisy to keep on the screen right now. And in fact, it does need to be refreshed. So I'm going to do that right now. My screen might glitch for a sec. Just be patient with me. I think you're right, Frank. I think you're right, but something triggered, right? Something triggered at that moment, and it's not. Maybe it's coincident, but oil took a nosedive right at that moment, right? So there's obviously strategies that are interlinked between oil and Nasdaq. We know how closely correlated they are, and something did trigger. Okay, here we go again. Here we grow again. If we can hold above 28,470, 480. I'd be interested in taking it in again. David H says, Pakistan and Iran explore a path towards new talks with the U.S. in China. There it is. Thank you, David. I appreciate you for doing that. Okay, here we go. I'm trying it again. I'm trying to take the same trade as before. I want to see if we've got a runner this time. Oil's continuing to nosedive. The trade seems to be working out. The ES is at 74.80. I'm past my 10 seconds. I've got $50 of profit to make up for, well, about $40, $50 of profit to make up for the last attempt, which I lost on. So guess what I'm going to do? And you see me make these frequent decisions to get out, not stay in and let it run. I'd rather lock in along the ride. Okay. Now, that means I can miss out. Okay. That means I can miss out. I have to be okay with that. I can't sit there with an emotional baggage sitting there going, oh, shoulda, woulda, oh, I could. No, my strategy is to use macro analytics down to micro to be able to execute higher probability trades. My tactic is to ensure I'm walking away with something. Okay, and now, of course, I'm gonna be sitting back going, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Oh, I could have extracted a little more if I stayed for another 5 seconds even. No, the way to reconfigure the head is, look, we're above 450 dramatically. We're at 550. And King, are you in your long? Are you in that long up to 630? I know a few of you are, from what I can see. So we've come up above this little area here that's the nasty mess. Remember that, right? I said if we're going to have a counter trend bounce that carries forward anymore, we have to get through that mess right around here. That was 500. So 450 was a major battleground. 500 is confirmation that something has turned so dramatically that we are probably going to retrace all the way back up to the high and or higher. That would be the idea. And Diego, no, I do the NQ as well. I do the ES. I've traded the ES mini proper as well in front of you here. But it's mainly NQ, MNQ, ES. Don't really trade the micros that frequently, but in this new environment, I'm engaging with so many new folks. I don't want folks to come in and go, oh, not every trade he takes works. No, not every trade I take is going to work. So by doing it on the MNQ, it creates less damage. But it's been a great week, profit positive. Still up a healthy 5 digits. And right now, waiting for one more move potentially. Oil continues to come down. The stretch we're at on the S&Ps is a bit of a concern, right? The 20-year bond shot up completely mirror image opposite as oil did, and it gave the S&P wings. But the S&P is so far away from normal right now that it's hard to imagine that it's going to be able to sustain this move, and that's a bit of a problem. And that's a very good point, Bob H. That's a very, very good point. It's also the day part where volumes drop off dramatically, right? So, that makes complete sense. And we can see it on the NQ as well, on the pop, right? I've got the volume bars on this 1 minute chart, very, very muted in the background here, but you're spot on. You're spot on. And Karen's just letting me know another headline from Trump. Xi, Putin promised not to sell weapons to Iran. Posted a minute ago. So it's hard not to imagine that this stuff is not orchestrated. It's orchestrated at the end of the day. It's not just off the cuff. Okay, I am waiting now for one more minute or two. Technically, we're in the third segment of our market morning together. The third segment is the lessons learned. It's answering your questions. It's getting any of the administrivia done. And of course, looking for trades along the ride as well, right? King, I'm happy. I'm happy for you, man. Hey, you called it, right? You called it well in advance. And boom, boom, boom. Here we are. Let's just see if we can follow through now at this stage. When you're dealing with a market that's very far away from normal, you have to be open-minded to it taking time now, right? I'm just going to pull this chart up. It's a bell curve of the S&P 500 using the SPY to represent it, not the ES or the MES, because this tool works best with market hours, the cash hours, 9:30 to 4 p.m. Okay, the center of the cone is like the center of a bell curve. It's the volume weighted average price for the S&P. And where's it sitting? Oh, it's sitting in an area where's price sitting? It's sitting in an area was very far away from normal. That's one standard deviation. That's two. That's three. When we're above that red line, it's less frequent that we're going to stay up here. But 1/3 of the time, we can continue. 2/3 of the time. So the stats lean to us coming back down. So if we're expecting an explosive further move up, it's A, less likely to last. Really, A, it's less likely to happen. B, it's less likely to last if it does. It would be a pump and dump. So let's go and see what that looks like. Right now, we are trying to push back up towards the local high for the ES and the NQ. So here's the ES. And I'm not going to take a trade here because I know I'm positioned very far away from normal. It's very stretched. I can scalp if I want to, but that's about it. The ES may be able to stay up in the air long enough to actually get a proper trade out on the NQ. So I'd watch 74.75 as the waterline now for the ES. If it submerges below 74.75, if I'm long the NQ, which I'm planning on, or MNQ, which I'm planning on taking on now, I don't want to have the ES back below 74.75. So this execution is based on follow through on this little headline bonanza with oil down, but it's a very risky area because the SPY or the S&Ps are very far away from normal. It's a little different for the NASDAQ. It's not as far away from normal. If you look at the NASDAQ on the same sort of measurement, let me just make that full screen. Come on. It's above VWAP. It's just a little more than a half a standard deviation above VWAP. It's not dramatic. If it gets above the pink line, if the ES has the staying power, the lasting power up in that, the ES is up in this area of its cone. If it has the staying power, the NASDAQ can then cross this threshold and, the trade continues to work. But right now it's not working, and I am not willing to sustain the position if it's not working below the speed lines. I'd rather get my risk off the table. So if we come back down below 485, 490, I'll kill the trade. Wes, I'm super happy to hear that. Okay, I'm not seeing efficacy on this position here, and I don't want to dilly-dally for too long. I do want to focus in on the chat and certainly answer questions, but I'll manage it as it's in play. Looks like it's somewhat profit positive now, but lots of comments coming into the chat, so I want to certainly pay attention there. and see if I can, add any top spin to any comments, answer any questions. Nice, Ruth Ann. uh, and of course, Trump's watching the markets. It's one of the mechanisms that he's kind of put himself on. That's part of the report card. 100%. It's part of his report card. It was in the first his first term, and is again now. And Mark, that's a great, that's also that's a good question to deal, to deal and answer on. I'm getting out of this. It's just not doing anything for me right now. And the ES is very stretched. It hasn't come down below 74.75, but I do want to, for the last few minutes over here, at least acknowledge the comments that have come into the chat, if not be able to answer the questions. And Howard, that's amazing. I just saw your post from 11:11 a.m. That you got that pop. I didn't even see that comment until now. That's awesome that you did. So Mark, your comment and question is pretty good, and it's a good I guess lesson to learn for folks. Now, it really has to do about too much information, right? So if one is dealing with multi-monitor setup, like you see you see Market Assassin put that picture of me. You have that picture of me looking up. You see me looking up because I've got banks of monitors here, right? Now, the role that I'm trying to play, which I hope is going well for you, is a role where I have at my fingertips a lot of information, and I've trained myself to look through it. Do I need all of it to trade the NQ or the ES? No, I don't. Now, I can reduce everything down to probably 2 screens, Mark, to answer your question. I can probably reduce it down to one multi-time frame layout that has got my technical signals on it. And over here, I don't even have it set up as multi-time frame, right? We're toggling through because I'm trying to ease the newer folks into the idea of multi-time frame. But, I walk you through it. Typically, I could say I'd have one multi-time frame with the technicals on it, and then my day trade 2 layout that you see me bring the VWAP cones up off of. The other work that should be done in advance, like we did earlier today, the work on the channel for the NQ, coming down to the bottom of that channel, because that was fundamentally the most important thing. If we understand the structure of the structures that the market is operating within or in and around, it's going to make a world of difference on how we make decisions throughout that trading morning or trading day. So let's go and take a look at that one structure. But very simply, I would do the work on structures and positioning on one screen. I don't need to have that there. I should have a plan written out, right? And the plan that we had very simply was, hey, since the middle of June, the NQ's in a downtrend channel. It's coming down to the bottom of that downtrend channel. What happens there? Perforates it, goes down a little bit below, V-shape bounces back up. As soon as I saw that the selling was strong enough to continue, I flipped my script right out of the gates. You saw that, right? I was expecting an oversold bounce. I didn't get it. And I was only able to confirm that around 9:49 a.m. Eastern time, right? We had the attempt right out of the open to go up. It failed. And then it confirmed its failure around 9:49, 9:50 a.m. Eastern time on those 1-minute bars. And then down the hatch we went, right? Down below the danger line. But we had all that work done in advance. So I have to come in with a plan of what I think is likely going to happen and where are we located. And then, I can simply put it up on the daily chart here even to make it clear. But we've been in this downtrend channel. It's a 2 standard deviation linear regression channel on the NQ, and we were headed down to the bottom here. We knew that there was a danger line at 28,450. We knew that was broken, submerged below, and we were making our way down to the bottom of that channel, and we were looking at past behavior as to what happened at the bottom of the channel. We perforated the bottom of this channel by a greater degree each time, right? We perforated it by a greater degree each time in the past, except for maybe once. But I'm looking at the daily here. I think we looked at it on the 5-minute chart, and we had that better granular view. So I'll pull that up again. It'll look messy to start, but that'll fix itself up quickly. If I've got the structures and the positioning of the market down, then I can reduce the number of things that are coming at me down to 2 screens. And it would be my day trade 2 template, where I'll have all the cross asset information, and my multi-time frame with the technicals on the asset that I'm trading. Because, I'll have the cross market done on the day trade 2. I'll have cross asset classes done on the day trade 2. And there you go. But there you have it. There's the answer. We understood shortly after the open that it ain't going to give us that oversold bounce. And as soon as I had to flip my script and I said, hey, we didn't get above the waterline and hold. Okay, down the hatch we're going to go. Okay, where are we going? To the bottom of that longer term channel, going back to the middle of June. What happens there? We usually perforate it by a degree of significance, and my analysis of it suggested that we would come down to 220 to 180. We did not, right? We came down to about the 250, 260 marker. And you heard me say it, once we get down to that target area, it'll be a V-shaped bounce up. That's what we got. And it's not magic, it's just past behavior, right? It's just past behavior. So it's something that that has to be in the bag, and then 2 screens. The 2 screens would be the day trade 2 template and your multi-time frame template with the technicals. But having the plan ahead of getting into the open makes a difference. And I'm not always in that spot. Like, I've got the plan done for the week in advance, right? The work that I do at the beginning of the week is done and on the weekend, and I get my flight paths all set up and everything ready to go. So I'm usually in a good spot. But there we go, folks. That's the end of our morning together. I will be on Wealth Charts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you that want to join me there, you can simply go to the hamburger menu, go to the education section, and then go over to where it says Wealth Chart events. And you can join me there at 12. Folks, I hope you enjoyed your time here this morning. Did you learn? Did you earn? Or did you burn? Okay. And it's not bad if it's a little burn, but if it's a big burn, hey, we've all been there. Did you learn? Did you earn? Or did you burn? You let me know. Lucky number 7 in the chat. It's probably the best way to do it. And David Rowe, you're saying you did it all. Yeah, we tend to go through it all. But hey, look, I really do hope that folks enjoyed their time together and got a lot out of the session. And I look very much forward to doing this every single day. It's really a privilege for me to be able to do this and having so many more new folks join us and be able to come into our fold. And as long as you're getting the goods that you need, we're good to go. And Paolo, you say, do you share your screen setups on Wealth Charts? Yeah. Come over to my session at noon and ask me, and I'll bring up the layout codes and show you where to get things like that. Okay. And for folks who are asking, for things like, admin things, ask the question at my noon session, and I'm happy to do that. And Rodney, crystal ball's here. Thanks to Ruby. Ruby, if you're here, thank you again. It's sitting on my desk every day with its own little crystal stand right there. And there we go. Go to, so James G, if you want to get to the noon session, go to education on Wealth Charts from the hamburger menu right over here, top left-hand side of the screen, education, Wealth Charts events. Okay, and you'll find your link there. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day and an incredible weekend. If I'm not going to see you for the balance of the day or the week, I'll see you back on Monday. For those that I will see, I'll see you in less than 30 minutes back over on Wealth Charts. Howard, I'm super happy to hear that. That's a great way to end the session when students are coming back in and saying 4-digit result into the end of the session. Amazing. All right, folks. Thank you for your time, and thanks for being here, listening in, being engaged, and being constructive, and being real. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks, and thank you for taking the time to spend each day with me. Bye for now.